Welcome to Tier 2 of BRL Round 2 at Imola. I'm your commentator, Rathel, and I am accompanied here tonight by Biwo. How are you doing tonight, sir? Well, we had some mixed conditions for us, as well as mixed conditions for Tier 3. So, curious what Tier 2 is going to have out there.
Yeah, I didn't have my audio included the first time I talked. Yeah, I'm interested with the conditions. Qualifying, we saw it rain, but not enough for it to mean inters. But in the race, in our race, we had the inters for about what, 5, 6 laps? I can't remember, but it's hazy and yeah, it could rain.
I think it's just a light cloud. These guys should probably be fine. Probably just not enough sun, which might be a little bit better for the softs and maybe mediums to make that longer stint if it stays like that into the race. Curious to see who's going to get out first. But, well, thank you to all the drivers and reserves that did make it out tonight. I understand it is a long weekend, so for some it might not be the easiest weekend to make it out. So thank you to those that did.
Yeah,
We can see.
looks like everyone's just kind of being, patient, which means if rain was pending, it's not pending actually, because if rain was going to show up in the next 5 minutes, you would see a mass dash for everyone leaving the pit lane. We got a McLaren lead, so Ruben will be the first one out, followed by one of the AlphaTauris. That
I
will be
believe
Zach.
that's Zach, yeah.
So, looking at the championship, one race in out of 13, Veyron is our championship leader with winning last week at Bahrain, followed up by Boss Cookie in P2, and then Charlie in P3. That was your podium, as you would assume from last weekend. P4 is DXD Ichigo, P5 is Wraith, P6 is Miniko, P7 is No Limit, No Equal, P8 is Lewis Fan, P9 is Drunken Shamrock, and P10 is Mozzie. That's for your drivers. Your team championship, Mercedes leads with 35 points. They have a 17-point gap over AlphaTauri, who Red Bull has 16 points. They're 2 points back of AlphaTauri. Williams is P4 with 8. McLaren is P5 with 6 points. Alfa Romeo is P6 with 5 points. Haas is in P7 with 2 points. And then Aston Martin, Ferrari, and Alpine, they both don't have points. But Aston Martin is P8 by virtue of finishing higher than Ferrari or Alpine. So that's your championship recap, as looks like Ruben's about to get things going.
Ruben's about to get things going. Indeed, I have my driver contact confirm a few things for us on the weather of the race. It's a dry quali, but apparently it's a mixed race. How mixed, I am unsure. It might be something similar to what we saw in Tier 4. It might be something a little bit heavier, maybe longer lasting interconditions, maybe just wet, dry conditions. We'll have to see. So, we shall see what happens in the race. As so far, Ruben putting down a good time to start us off. Zach trailing in just behind there. Looks like he's bowed out of it this time, so let's spectate with Zach, see how they're doing, setting down that first lap for us here in qualify.
Ruben is on the mediums. Maybe he didn't like what he felt and just wanted to have a redo. That's if he filled it up enough to do, 2 laps. I've noticed that sometimes with the medium guys, it's not really lap 1 that matters, it's lap 2 that matters on that tire that produces the best time, so.
And what does Zach have for us coming into the final 2 corners? I think he wanted a little bit more curve there, but just a safe banker lap for Zach as he's putting it down. Consider going into the pits, takes out the pylon right to the wall. It's a 14.4, very fast time to start us off. So that's the time to start. Who else is coming down over the line for a time? I believe that was Haas of Blue. Is he on the mediums? Yes. What is he going to set down for us on the mediums? Medium pace is looking like a 15.7.
Well,
I don't know.
he doesn't have the battery maybe to do 2 laps, so we'll see. So you might really only get one shot to do on these mediums.
I think Ichigo just had a bit of a moment on his lap, but let's see who else is in the order. I do see a Red Bull starting a lap, as well as that Slayer finishing a run. Yes, it is on the mediums. What do they have? It's a 17.5, so I think he's going to go for another one. Maybe had to get out of the way for traffic or thought somebody was on a lap, so good on them if that's what it was for. See a few drivers out on a lap.
Yeah.
Is that Ruben about to finish his again?
He invalidated, unfortunately, so we'll see. He's got the battery to have another go. We'll see if he does, or if he comes on the pit lane. Nah, he comes in and pits, so. Oh, Katra has spun in the second chicane. I think she got away with it, though. Tires are going to be a little chewed up. Unfortunate. I believe she was purple so far through sector 1, or no, actually no, she couldn't have been. I think that's just the game itself.
Finfan on a lap though, trying to come down. Looks like Toneless is just about to start his lap ahead on those mediums. What does Finfan have over the line? That's a 15 flat pretty much. That's going to be P2 for now as
Heatwave.
Heatwave comes in with that 14.6 to slide in for P2 on those softs, so not a bad time. Currently about a 7/10 gap between our medium runners and our... Will that be enough for our medium runners to want to stay to that strategy? Unsure.
That or, I mean, with the rain in the race, don't know when the rain's going to be. You know, there is a question there of, okay, if you think the rain's going to come, but it's not going to come until, let's say, lap 15, 16, mediums might be the way to go because you don't have to do a two-stop. You don't have to worry about, you know, stretching your soft. So it just really depends on when the rain's going to hit, of which tire you really want to be on.
Depends on the strategy, very much so. Depends on who's going to get that strategy right on that pit wall. Mozzie sets himself with a 16.1 on those medium tires. A few more drivers coming down over the line. Prath starting a lap. Is that Veyron on his out lap as well? Okay. Lots of drivers on their run.
You know, one strategy that is available for him, if you know indeed it's going to rain and rain heavy enough, and it's going to be, let's say, you know, lap 20, and you do start the race on softs, you can 100% gamble and just throw those other softs on there, because if it does rain and someone does switch to intermediate tires, that whole tire compound, you know, rule goes out the window. So, oh, DXD went wide, but he kept it valid. He kept it valid.
Well, that's something. A lot of these drivers have the pace to put down some pretty serious laps if they can keep it in these weird cambered corners and hold it all together. As Heatwave pushes himself ahead of Zach by just a little bit. Oh, a 5-place grid penalty between Lou and...
Luciano and Rubens.
Ruben.
Yeah. And Luciano is missing a front wing, so one would maybe assume, I didn't see it, that maybe Luciano ran into the back of Rubens. Was he on a lap? So
either way, Raph makes it out of there. They all got out of his way for the traffic at least, and he sets a 14 flat pretty much, so that's the time. It's 4/10 ahead. So that is what it's looking like at the time.
I'm sure.
There are the gaps, so everyone can see.
I'm sure the Luciano Rubens deal will be talked about after the race. Probably an inquiry. But nothing they can really do about it now. They just have to make and live with the 5 grid penalty.
And Vojay, I believe, is a reserve, trying to put down a lap. They had a banker time that's a bit off. They're doing some purple sectors on them their own time, up about 3/10. But maybe they just had their squabble in the last corner. That's where all their time is lost. So we shall see what they have coming down.
Well, it's a very narrow, actually, last couple of corners. Just the pavement-wise, it's narrow, and you know, You need to make sure of who's on a lap, who's not on a lap, and just kind of make sure you yield out of the way.
Yep, and he sets a 16-1. Ichigo into the pits. I believe that's Wrath into the pits as well. Was that Boss Cookie on a run to set himself a time? Coming down over. Oh, he's invalidated again, so he's going to go for another run. He's got the battery to do so.
Well, oh, actually did. When he said invalidated, I thought he would have invalidated the last couple of corners, which is kind of sort of the kiss of death here. No, if you invalidate that last corner, you get this next up invalidation. So you might as well just come back into the pits.
I agree. It does make it difficult if you get that next lap invalidation. Stretches all as much of the corner that he can, Boss Cookie. He's trying to get down on those tires, push his way through. Seems like a few of the other drivers are trying to sort themselves out for a lap ahead. Hopefully they get out of the way, or hopefully they're not traffic by the time Boss Cookie comes through.
He had a little moment there.
Having a bit of a moment fighting through the curves, but overall grabbing traction perfectly as best he can.
He's pushing.
For every single one of them. He's pushing hard. That's how you have to get these times, is heavy commitment into these corners and give it all the beans, which Boss Cookie is definitely doing. What's it going to be coming down over the line, though?
Oh, that might cost him a little.
It's a 14-3. It's going to put him P2 for now. But I'm guessing he's got a little bit more. Might come into the pits, try to get one more lap out. Still got 7 minutes on the clock, so lots of time for people to do so.
Yeah, he went red on the deployment. I don't know if that was before or after he crossed the line. That pretty much when you get that, pretty much puts a parachute in the back of your car.
Yeah, but right at the end of the lap, that's fine. But Slayer puts himself up to P5, so that's pretty good so far. Everyone's jumped to the softs at this point. No more medium runners really out there. So we'll have to see what happens as we have some people trying to get their out lap. I believe that was just Katra yielding to other drivers on their run.
Yeah, I think Luciano is on a lap. So far he's stayed good as he comes out the final corner. Currently P10, and now he's P5, but unfortunately, now he's P6, but unfortunately he would be 11th. The downside about Luciano's situation and Ruben's situation is, even let's say Luciano, because he is currently in this position, he's P6, but with that 5-place grid penalty, he'll start 11th, but he will have to start on his qual set of tires because he qualified in the top 10, so it's kind of like, ugh.
I agree. It's going to be rough with that 5-place grid penalty for both Ruben and Lucano, so it's going to move him down. Ruben, at best, would still be only 6th or 7th if nobody else really improves, but I think there's a bit more time from some of these drivers, so we'll have to see who else is going to be on a lap. I know a lot of these guys are going to be maybe doing double laps to the end, trying to, just in case there's an invalidation, but I'm not quite sure who will be on a run to finish last. Lou coming back through. It's the next driver through, and then I believe it's Ruben again. So we'll see.
I think he's just hustling to get back to pit lane. No?
Lou's going to try and finish it off with all he's got for battery. That's a 14-3. It's going to move him up to P4 for now. Ruben into the pits. What was that, a Ferrari? Is that DXD?
Yeah, he jumps up to P10.
He's starting a lap. Okay. Who do we have? Toneless coming down? No, into the pits for Toneless. Fin folding up to get out of Lewis Fan's way.
Yeah, Vaj, he's just doing, making sure he's got the right gap he needs out front and from behind as he starts his lap, as the Mercedes behind him goes into the pits. That would be Veyron, who won last week.
And Heatwave putting down a 13-9. So that's the time to beat. Him and Wrath have traded. Sack was up there for a little bit too. I know Boss Cookie has a little bit more in him as well. So we'll have to see who else can put down that time.
It's fairly tight.
Katra is on a run for sure.
The top four are separated, give or take about 2/10 there, and a little bit of a gap there between P4 and P5, about 2/10 separating them, and a pretty, yeah, we have pretty much the top 11 are separated by a second.
And Ichigo's lost his wings somewhere, so he's going to try and run back to the pits before anything else. Lewis Fan has a invalidated lap. OJ's on a run. Yep, pushing down with ERS, coming down into the final two corners here. Wants to improve quite a bit.
He was a 10th and a half up after sector 2. Almost went wide there.
It's a 15.7. It's an improvement, but still a little bit away from everybody else. See Slayer finished their time, or is now starting a new lap to go again. All right.
Yep.
Is that Katra on their run? Katra into the pits. Is that Heatwave finishing another run? No, Heatwave into the pits. So yeah.
Yeah, Veyron
Can't see
leads the
how
pits.
much time is left on the clock with all the yellow flags, but 2 minutes and 30 seconds. There we go. All right.
Yeah, we'll start to see the queue of guys in the pits come out with approaching 2 minutes remaining on qualifying for their last go. And here you go. You have, I believe that Zach's going to outlap.
Yeah, Ruben, I think, is going to take his first lap. He's going to have 2 runs to get it done, so he's got that safety blanket for himself. I believe Heatwave is still in the pits, probably about to come out soon. OJ's coming down, invalidated his lap. He's going to come into the pits. And let's see, Slayer's coming down. Doesn't improve there, but I guess is going for another run on low fuel, so we'll see if they can improve. Some drivers coming out of the pits now. Is that Boss Cookie on a run? Starting a lap from him again.
And he just finished one. He's going to do another go.
We'll have to see. Lou is the only other driver I think out. Zach just starting a lap now. So Lou, no, he's on an out lap as well. So yeah, it's one of the McLarens. Is that Wrath or Veyron? Just trying to start one.
That would be Wrath that's about to start on. Veyron's about to finish Sector 1, or he has finished Sector 1, he's in Sector 2. He hasn't posted a time yet. So it might be all or nothing on this lap. He might have the time to have one more shot at it. Oh,
he's got the battery for one more shot, so he's invalidated there. Maybe just trying to save some battery for one more shot, but yeah. Who else is on a run to the end? Saw Ichigo and everybody else is pretty much on a lap now. So we shall see what happens.
So looking actually at a weather report, thanks to Titan, I believe this is right, looking at it right, yeah. So it looks to, if I'm looking at this right, yeah, it looks like it's going to rain in the beginning and then it's going to stop raining, so it's actually...
So Zach sets a pole time. That's a 13.9, a little bit better than Heatwave's. Heatwave is currently on a lap. Same with Veyron and Wrath, I believe. Wrath coming down over the line now. Has a little bit more. But that's not quite enough to take it. So it'll be down to Heatwave and Veyron and maybe some of the other drivers out there.
Yeah, so far I think Veyron would be the last guy to set a time. So far he's so good. Still good. So... might have a little traffic to deal with. I don't think so. I think these guys ahead of them, these 3 are on a lap, so they shouldn't.
I do believe that's Katra on a lap ahead as well, so Katra setting down a time for herself. It's a 14.9, so that's a bit of an improvement. What does Heatwave have? Heatwave takes it by that little bit more.
And
Boji gets a time. Veyron sets himself P13, so maybe not the performance he wanted. I think that's pretty much everybody. So yeah, Heatwave takes it.
13.6 as so P4, P5 was Ruben and Luciano, but remember they have a 5-place grid penalty, so they will start P9 and P10, I believe. Oh, Ruben was P3, so he will start P8, and Luciano, yeah, he will start P10. So
Yeah, everyone's selecting the softs. Who knows? Maybe it's just that start for the wet will come sooner, or it will be coming by the time it is needed, and the mediums won't make a difference. So Zach P2, it'll be I believe Wrath P3, and Boss Cookie will move up as well to P4. It's a little bit of a mixed up grid, so that's the only problem with Toneless as well as moving up. Ruben will take I think P8, and Slayer into P9 still, and then I think Lou will drop down to P10 or 11 with Mozzie in P10, but yeah, a little bit of a mixed up grid, but we shall see coming down to start the race.
well, I think with what I got sent, I think we should be expecting, well, let's just go ahead and see if we do see it. I think we're going to see rain initially. Yes, heavy.
Heavy rain. Wet, dry race.
So
So that's
now,
why they're all jumping for the softs. It didn't matter for the mediums. Just go for it. Yeah.
so the question with
So
this is, how long is this rain going to be? It is going to end at some point. And, if it ends with kind of 10 laps to go, easy, no brainer, you throw on softs. If this rain stops at the midway point, you're free to use whatever tire compound you want to use. Do you throw on mediums for the end, or do you throw on softs thinking that and hoping that they make it the rest of the way? So it's excuse me, it's an interesting
the
kind of
track should be
conundrum.
cool enough with the wet conditions. Hopefully that the softs can make it. I'm sure these guys will try to do a 13 lap stretch if it comes down to it. But the question is who has the setup for the wet? These guys had a lot of mega pace in the dry, but like the wet, can these same setups handle it in the wet? And what will happen? So
Yeah, I did a little bit. Come back, I guess, with our race. I know we only went on inters, but I think the balance of it kind of felt the same both ends. But
but are these guys on full wets? Because if it is, that's a little bit different than just inters, right?
well, we'll take a look.
Those look like blue balls.
Yeah, well,
Those
we'll
are blue
find
wall
out.
tires. FinFan goes for the inters, but for the most part, everybody else selecting to go with the full heavy wet tires. I cannot say what the conditions are like because we did not have that kind of rain, so we shall see.
Yeah, in tier 3, it rained very heavily in qualifying. I was working with Ron last night in tier 3, so yeah, this will be the first actual race that we'll see what's the. We can't say 100% because FinFan's on inters. That's going to be interesting to see what type of pace FinFan has. If perhaps he made the inspired decision of starting on that tire compound, or if he gambled. We'll see.
Yes, we shall see. I know these guys are supposed to keep within enough car lengths, but there is a bit of a gap forming between the drivers, so hopefully these guys can sort it out before the end. No one wants to start on cold tires, but oh, Slayer having to dive out of the way of Ruben there. These guys got to take it easy through here, but we shall see.
Yeah, they're coming to the last couple of corners before the formation grid. Oh, Zach, is that Zach the Beast in the wall? It is Zach the Beast in the wall.
I don't think you can take.
And he's disqualified.
Oh, He's been disqualified, so he's back to the grid. Or, I guess, either going the wrong way or not going. So, it is what it
I
is.
believe he got a DSQ for actually going the wrong way. Unfortunately, he's just DSQ'd from the formation lap, not the race itself. But this is going to be an issue here. How cold are his tires compared to everyone else around him, and how does he handle this start?
Well, it was near the end of the lap, but if he's already having slip-up issues, who's to say? I'm not quite sure. As they're trying to load up onto the grid. And here we go. Here's our 5 red lights. And away we go. Looks like Heatwave gets a good run off the start.
Zach just got
Wrath and everybody
swallowed
else
up.
following in behind.
So far, kind of keeping it clean. Hopefully I don't do the commentator curse as Heatwave gains the lead over Wraith.
Yeah, it looks like Heatwave just holding that position.
Oh, Boss Cookie cuts the
Zach
grass.
not having a good start, but some drama going on in the background. Ruben and Lewis fan fighting side by side as they're going 2x2 through the corners. Everyone trying to use DRS, trying to wiggle their way through.
Here comes EXD. He's side by side with the Haas. Actually, no, it was the Ferrari, but he gets through by on Lewis fan.
Slayer not really able to make a move. No one really able to make a move through these corners as they're all just trying to muscle their way through.
Yeah, so far
People trying to be sensible.
Yeah, so far at the moment, looking at FinFan on his inters, I think that is not the right compound to be on at the moment, but who knows, in a couple laps maybe that will change. This Heatwave is trying to open up a gap.
He's got that gap just that bit. He's opened it up about a second, but so is Wrath to Toneless. Toneless himself has got Boss Cookie and Lou right there behind, so we'll have to see. Some squabbling going down in the back as Veyron gets ahead of Slayer. Zach the Beast looking to move back up through the grid as he's lost a lot of positions. Let's see what we have for position changes so far. Oh, as Slayer has lost his wing and spun himself out. I don't know if that's going to be a safety car, maybe just a VSC. Yeah, that's a VSC, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, after last week, we thought we should have had a safety car in Bahrain after the big one, and we didn't get it. So we're always going to question that a little bit, but that's going to be a VSC.
Will this give FinFan maybe a chance to swap out to the wets? I don't think anybody else is going to consider pitting.
He's lost a little bit of pace, but I would say he's not losing hands over fist at the moment. So why not just stay out? I mean, unless it comes to the point to where the car is not controllable and he's having an issue with that. If he can control the car, then just see what happens. Because if he pits, he's going to lose actually more time. He'll need a safety car, honestly, to get back in this race.
I agree, but if people are already fighting traction this much with these wets, maybe the dry setups are not proving super advantageous in the wet.
Well, he said
so
that.
We shall see.
Oh.
Toneless takes a drive through. Same with Ichigo.
I know that pain. So one of the McLarens, Ruben is off. So Ruben, who was, I want to say, P6, P7, had a moment there, and now we're back underway. The BSC is over, but he basically goes to plumb last outside of Slayer. Hey, Heatwave.
Looks like Veyron and Lewis Fan are fighting into the corners. Oh, that's some contact there, pushing off Veyron a bit. He has to take a wider entry through the corner, getting ahead of Lewis Fan there. Lewis Fan having a bit more of a squabble, having to let through Zach and Katra. Katra having to cut the grass, taking a 3-second time penalty. Vojay taking a 3-second time penalty. So everybody having some issues with traction out there as these guys are fighting it out in the back of the grid as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, with Toneless Death and Ichigo, they're going to have to pit within the next 2 laps, not pit, but take a drive-through. That's going to be some pain as Toneless comes in. DXC stays out 1 more lap. It's by Devon. DXC's, ooh, Slater gets penalty, I think. Yeah. Heatwave did have about a 1.9 second lead over Wraith, but we've seen Wraith now reeling back in, and with Boss Cookie as well.
Yeah, there's a few battles on track, close between Zach the Beast and Veyron, close between Mozzie and Katra, but even close up front is Boss Cookie and Wrath and Heatwave are all very close, but we have a safety car now. I am unsure what that is specifically for.
I think I saw the McLaren of Ruben off the track. Ruben's missing a front wing.
He's got no wing.
So now if you're Fin and you don't really like this tire, you might as well go ahead and pit now. Gives you a free stop. I totally get not pitting on the VSC, but we'll see now if we get anyone that will pit.
I don't think anybody else should be pitting besides probably FinFan and Ruben, but we shall see. It sucks for Ichigo because he did not serve his drive-through, whereas Toneless now has at least the safety car to make up for it.
Yes. So I'm pretty sure this is code matches we're dealing with. I'm sure hopefully there's something within the game saying, hey, I can't serve my drive-through because it's a safety car. So that way,
a lot of
DXC doesn't get disqualified.
Cars that are pitting, swapping to inters, so maybe the weather is getting slightly better, or the wets are now overheating a bit with less water on the track. I'm unsure.
It does. Maybe it's just me, but it does look like it's getting a bit brighter. So that and we
like FinFan went through and is still on those inters, 4-lap inters, and has gained a lot of positions because of it now.
One thing that
if all the top runners pit, it's just more positions.
One thing that Ichigo did do is if he didn't D1 inters, he went, came in and got that inters. I did the same thing last night. I unfortunately had a drive-through, and I knew that we were gonna have to pit for softs. It made no sense to do a drive-through, then come back around again and pit for inter or a soft. So just go ahead and pit, put the intermediates on, so that you have that already done, and then come serve your drive-through. So. Ruben was the only one that actually stayed on wets that pitted.
Yes. It seems Ichigo's fighting traction out there, but again, it doesn't look as puddly as it might have once been earlier in the race, so we shall see.
Yep, we're working lap 5, and the rain is supposed to start lightening up, give or take 10 minutes in the race. So maybe this is the point, as now we see the other ones. Heatwave, Veyron, Zach, they all pit. I assume to go on inters. So this could be the point where the rain is going to lessen up, and this is indeed the time to go to inters. It does actually look like it's raining less now.
Oh, it is raining much less. So the question is, with Wrath and Lewis fans staying out there another lap, is that going to be the call for them?
Well,
and what will happen?
As you're seeing with Heatwave, Veyron, and Katra, they're going back to the grid. They're starting basically, out of the points. With Wraith and FinFan, it's a question of, do you want to pit and start P14, P13, or do you just want to deal with the hand that you dealt with and see if you can, still maintain it? It is what it is, unfortunately.
It is what it is, unfortunately. I do agree. Not a whole lot we can do. Inters, I guess, are feeling great to these drivers since everybody's out on them at this point. Honestly, we've had one VSC and one safety car. I'm hoping to get a little bit more racing from these drivers, hopefully going forward, and less wings being ripped off.
If
So
the safety car doesn't come in, and if I was right there, Lewis, I would pit. It's kind of a not ideal scenario, but I mean, if you're on the wrong compound as it is, well, then you're likely going to get passed as it is. And it's going to be a little bit before you go to slick, so I would probably just pit.
safety car isn't in this lap.
No.
Will they pit? Will the two leaders pit behind safety car? Lewis fan into the pits.
Brave stays out.
Rath decides to hold his position. Lewis fan will concede many positions at this point in the race, pretty much dropping him all the way down to the back of the grid. So the gamble is in. Rath going all in on wets versus the rest of the grid on inters. Finn fan doing well on his gamble from the start.
Yes, very
starting
well.
out on the inters. So had it not been a safety car, everybody else might have had to get off of those wets. FinFan might have gotten a big position advantage. Maybe this has actually been a bit of a hindrance rather than an advantage for FinFan. So
Well, I did get a message by, someone saying L plan, and I think this was the L plan for Alpine. FinFan start on enters. Hopefully we get a safety car. Hopefully that keeps the field tight. Just keep all points of the car good. And when that transition comes in, you're going to be in a really good spot. And hey, that's where FinFan is at. So it's worth the gamble. That's Ruben about crash.
yeah, he had a little bit of a moment. Saved it though, so there is that.
As I would sometimes say in the NASCAR world, he was 3 wide by himself.
Just depends on when the dry comes at this point. How will Rath handle those wets? Will they overheat on him? Will the dry come soon enough to save Rath to jump in to get it done? Who's to say?
I guess we're going to find out real quick of if Fritz is going to be able to hold the lead.
Ichigo still has a drive-through penalty to serve. There's
Yes,
still
he does.
other 3-second time penalties on the board. What will happen? Will there be another safety car? Still many laps left.
One thing that Ichigo does do, though, he is on the right compound, so he won't have to pit again to go back on the compound or go to enters. So he did a smart decision with that. Oh, Ruben is off on the start.
Rath gets himself away from the rest of the crowd as now it's a 4-way fight to see who wants to fight Rath up front. It's now FinFan and Boss Cookie. Boss Cookie takes it ahead. Lou following in behind. Ichigo still there. Zach still made his way back up to P6 after all that. Some fights going beside Mozzie and Heatwave as Heatwave's trying to move himself back up. Veyron right in behind. Toneless fighting side by side with Katra. So lots of fights going across the board. Rath losing out a position to Boss Cookie ahead. Trying to give it everything, but it is definitely advantage Inters.
Yeah.
FinFan having to slow down quite a lot
to
not crash into the back of Rath.
You just
but
see
it's still raining a bit.
It's raining a bit, but you can just look and just a handful of corners. Cookie is 2 seconds up the road and pulling. So FinFan would be looking as here he is trying to get by Wraith as soon as he can. Wraith goes wide. I think that's because of the lack of traction.
And Ichigo kind of gets the better out of it as he's ahead.
Yep.
Right now. FinFan in behind. Lou's making a position as they're fighting in the corner. FinFan goes for the dive. Doesn't quite work out. He's off to the into the gravel. Zach's going to inherit position. Heatwave back up there. Ichigo having a bit of a moment on his tires. But Lou moves up. Looks like Ichigo wanting to get that penalty dealt with. Zach moving up the position. He's fighting side by side with Heatwave.
While this is going on, Boss Cookie is 4 seconds up the road, saying peace. Oh, we have. Is that Mozzie? It is Mozzie.
More drama as Mozzie's lost a wing with contact, I'm guessing, with somebody else. How bad is that wing damage? Is it only one side?
Looks like...
No, it's not him. It
Slayer.
might have been somebody else. Slayer's lost an end plate. Has anybody else lost anything? I can't quite see, but the train in the battle is still fighting it out. Veyron fighting it out with Vojay, but Veyron going off.
The AlphaTauri of Lewis Van is also missing an end plate, so that might be the other piece of debris that's out there.
Oh, Boss Cookie has a disconnection. And that's going to slow him down. So his AI is out of it, and that's going to give up a position to Lou, as Zach is chasing into that AI as well. Hard with ERS into the corners. So I don't know if you can send an invite to Boss Cookie, try to get him back in here, but that is appreciated. And yeah, Heatwave's going to try and move up a position as well. So he gets Zach there. Zach trying to fight him back, though.
Unfortunately, I sent him an invite. Hopefully he'll get it back in as soon as he can. So that will have...
But yeah, the top group is kind of split away.
Yeah, Luciano now inherits the lead. Followed by Heatwave, about a little under 2 seconds back. Then he's got Zach, and then is Boss Cookie back in? I can't... I think he is. No, he's not.
Veyron and Finvan very close to one another. Closest battle on track currently. There is a fight at the back with Mozzie and Wrath, as Wrath is probably going to lose out another position to the Inters, but currently defends it out for now. Veyron and Finvan through the AI of Boss Cookie.
Yeah, I know he had a horrible start with, you know, him having cold tires due to having a little issue at the end of the formation. That Zach's made a brilliant recovery to get the P3. As Luciano sets the fastest lap.
And Mozzie gets around Wrath as, yeah, Veyron still chasing down Finfan. Looks like Zach is just trying to hold on to the back of Heatwave as Lou is trying to run away from the two of them. So there's a few trains forming. Everyone's trying to catch back up. Vojay closing the gap a bit. Tonela's trying to close in the gap to the cars ahead, so we'll see what happens there. Lou still holding on to that 2-second gap. Heatwave having some issues of traction. Is that going to help Zach close in? Or are these guys dealing with a drying track? Or is it just not quite wet enough? It doesn't look like a whole lot of rain out there.
It's still raining a little bit.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of spray.
There isn't a lot of spray. We're going to have to wait for someone to beat the guinea pig and gamble. So
Veyron takes a 3-second time penalty to try not to hit Finfan through the corner there. But there's some tight battles going out on track right now. Still about that 7/8 gap, but Ichigo taking a position from Wrath on those wet tires. The gamble's not paying out so far, but Vojay still closing in on Veyron. Veyron closing in on Finfan a bit, but not quite enough. Yeah. Zach getting ever closer to Heatwave, so Heatwave not doing so well on the wet set so far.
It looks like so far no one's gonna gamble and go on slicks. But maybe someone in the back, maybe going to change their fortunes in the race, maybe get lucky. Decide to pivot. No, not yet. I think that's where you're gonna see it. You're gonna see someone probably in the back part, maybe not in the points, They're gonna roll the dice and gamble, as it looks like it's actually stopped raining now.
The rain has stopped. When will the dry tires come into play? I can't imagine it's going to be too much longer. Maybe only a lap or two away. It's paid out for FinFan so far on those inters. Will it pay out towards the end?
Yeah, he working lap 12, so yeah, it was a bold decision, and it's for sure paid off. So we're gonna see who is the first to blink and gamble and pit.
It won't be Zach, it won't be Heatwave as they keep going. FinFan doesn't think about it. Bayron's still chasing. Bojay's still chasing.
So
I don't think Boss Cookie's in his car yet, so Toneless continues on.
I've sent him a couple of invites. I don't know if he's got something going on in his end.
I'm gonna guess it's maybe his end, unfortunately. Ichigo and Ruben thinks about it and goes to the pit. Ichigo is gonna inherit a position. What is Ruben thinking on tire? I'm guessing softs, but those look like yellow wall tires.
Well, mediums will be good for the end. You can take these all the way to the end.
A new wing and yellows of the medium tire.
Also in his race,
Wrath into the pits.
he puts in mediums.
Wrath goes for the mediums as well, so we'll have to see how these two get along. I can't imagine it'll be too much longer. Slayer continues along.
Well, one thing, like for me, in a race like this where the conditions start changing, is when Ruben comes out and gets up to speed, first off, keep it on the tarmac, build some temperature in them, get some grip in them, and then get comfortable with these conditions. But when you know it's the right tire, that too, the DRS just got, enabled, is when you see Ruben's gap to Slayer. Right now it's 8.1 seconds. When he starts eating into Slayer's time, that's when you know it's the right time. Slayer just had a moment there, so we're gonna have to wait for this to
Slayer
refresh.
had a moment, but everybody else is running into the pit, so I'm trying to see what everybody else is jumping to. It looks like mediums are the call to go to the end. No one else wants to gamble on anything else. Lou goes for softs. I'm not sure if that's the right gamble. Mozzie into the pits now. Ichigo on his way through. Will dive for the pits.
Right now, looking at Ruben's times to catch us, the only one we can reference it right now. It was like 14.2 seconds. Now it's at 13.7, and that gap is closing. That's when he just got a penalty, but that's when you know, okay, it's time to switch. He's actually making up time.
And Lou has spun. Our leader on softs has already spun, and that's going to give up tons of positions to Heatwave and Zach, and right down to P4. So FinFan makes his way through. And Veyron now looking to maybe make another position here. So,
well, we kind of experienced this a little bit in qualifying, and also in our race. The slick tires were the more ideal tire, even though it was wet, but it's still tricky. You don't have 100% grip, so you have to kind of be careful with it and not overdo it. Because look at Lewis Fan, he's leaving the pit lane, just the back end snapping, so you have to be careful.
Yeah, Slayer into the pit now, so the last of the wet tires are all off. Everybody is on to dries at this point, but Lou is fighting the back of FinFan on those softs now, trying to recover the race a little bit here with those higher speed tires. Won't be able to do anything without DRS and get himself a 1 second gap to maybe close away from...
I believe DRS is enabled. Yes, it is.
DRS is enabled. You're right. You are right. DRS is enabled. He's going to have the boost. FinFan won't have it. Veyron will, but Veyron's way too far back to make anything of it, so Lou will inherit that position.
I think for FinFan, Luciano is on the compound. It's going to be hard to defend, but also, with the amount of laps remaining, highly doubtful that Luciano is able to carry that tire to the end. He's likely going to have to pit twice unless we get a safety car. If you're FinFan, just maintain. Because right now, even though you're P4, if Luciano has to pit, you're basically P3.
Well, the two drivers behind FinFan have penalties. That is something to consider,
yes.
So it's a pretty safe position. But FinFan having some issues just on the cold tarmac. It looks like Veyron might get a position here. if he can just hold on to the back of FinFan, but
Oh, we have a Red Bull
who is
off.
off? Is that
Oh,
Boj is off?
Let's see. Oh, we have a VSC. Okay, I was wondering why we were going a little bit slow. So there's the VSC.
So that's going to come in handy for FinFan because he would have been under attack from Bayron with DRS, so he's not going to have it this time around. Zach was right there as well, I think, pretty much within that 1 second gap, so it's hard to say if he would have had DRS on Heatwave. Boss Cookie's gotten himself back into the seat, so welcome back. DRS is enabled again, so hopefully Boss Cookie can continue on and have a good race. I know he probably doesn't prefer to be on the softs, which his AI chose, but fortunately that's how it happened there. OJ into the pits, I'm guessing to get a new wing, onto mediums to the end. So.
And the track really looks pretty dry right now. So we're going to see the speeds ramp up and the lap times tumble. I think before the VST came out, Zach was give or take within a second of Heatwave, and I believe he is. He's heading purple sectors.
Can he get that position? He's pretty much dumped his battery. Heatwave's got a lot of juice in the tank, but with DRS, it could be possible for Zach to hold on and chew up Heatwave's battery to make it work. So everybody's coming out with that 100% gamble. As we said in qualifying, it's pretty much all beans or no beans here at Imola. So Zach setting that fastest lap, having DRS to keep him close to Heatwave. Heatwave kind of a sitting duck, but holding on to more battery than Zach. So could try to run away at some point with that deployment. We'll have to see. Bayron close to the back of FinFan, but not able to make that move out of turn 1, so.
Yeah, Bayron's got about 30% more battery than FinFan, as Ruben sets fastest lap.
17.4 is your fastest lap so far from Ruben, but still many laps left. Again, we could still see a safety car, everybody jumping down onto softs or something like that, but Zach trying to close into Heatwave, reserving a bit more battery this time around.
Yeah, Bayron's all over the back of FinFan. And the sun's about to pop out. Haven't seen that all day.
Sun is popping out. I don't think Heatwave got the run out of the corner that he wanted.
Oh, that's really gonna hurt.
FinFan takes a penalty there, which won't be handy, but Veyron has DRS and is going to get the move done. Zach is going to get the move done. So many moves being done with DRS. Now, is Heatwave going to be able to make that move back now that he's got the extra battery to do so, or are these two just going to trade and try to get themselves away from Lou?
Well, Luciano just got a 3-second penalty. He's slowly eating into Heatwave and Zach's lead, but I don't think, Luciano's likely still going to have to pit, so just going to have to see where that shakes out. Luciano will probably be praying for a safety car, hoping one comes out. Almost at that point where if a safety car did come out in the next couple laps, everyone will likely switch to softs anyways.
And Ruben harrying the back of Ichigo at this point, but I agree, it's pretty much the turnover. If there's a safety car, it's going to be a shootout for softs, as Ichigo has lost it, but saves the car. No wing damage, gets it away from the wall, didn't hit Ruben, so good on him, but that's going to be some positions lost, as Zach's lost his position as well to Heatwave with DRS on that straight into turn 1.
Yeah, Heatwave has about 50% more battery left as Ichigo. I'm afraid his tires are overheated, so it's hard for him to just get the traction. And once you've seen with overheated tires, you just there it is. You just spin. It's like you're driving on ice.
And Heatwave grabs a little bit of gravel, and it slowed him up, so Zach is just right on the back of him trying to get that position back. So these two are fighting it out.
Yeah.
Luciano, 1 second out at this point from behind them, so pretty much going to get DRS as well coming into the straight as well.
Oh, who's that? That's Fan off, I believe. It is. I don't know if
Fan able to recover himself, though.
that was because of he was racing with Veyron, or I don't know. I didn't see it. I just saw a blue dot go off. As Boss Cookie gets a 3-second penalty, but Boss Cookie, I believe, is back in the race now.
Mm-hmm. At least he is back in the race. Zach closing in with DRS. It's not going to be enough this time on Heatwave.
Yeah,
Luciano not too far behind.
Now, if Luciano still has some pace here, this could be an interesting scenario here. If he gets by both of these two, and let's say it's still Heatwave ahead of Zach, Heatwave could try to use Luciano as a tow a little bit, so that way he can get out of Zach being 1 second from him for DRS. So needs a little bit of stuff to happen for that to, for it to happen. But let's see if that plays a role.
But yeah, Heatwave's been chewing up a bit of battery to stay away from Zach on those straights, it seems. Zach's still been using his deployment fairly well. Pretty much using every bit of battery he can through every corner, using the recharge he's got through every corner. But Heatwave trying to get away from Zach, trying to get away from Luciano. But so far doing well to defend his position. A few trades back and forth. We only have about 11 more laps left, so
he's not
we're
on
about
the
2/3 through this race.
So Heatwave using the button basically the last quarter of the straightaway, front stretch.
Probably just trying to reserve as much as possible to keep away Zach. But again, they went from 90% down to 30 in a few laps of just trying to keep Zach away. So maybe Zach does have the pace to get this done if he can just keep holding to the back of them and doing what he's doing. It might just be enough. Veyron quite a distance off still, being that 9 seconds out. So it's pretty much a 1-2-3 fight. They're alone. Luciano's penalties don't really bother him outside of a podium at this point. So
yeah, we know, we experience this. This is a hard place to kind of sort of regenerate the battery, just because of how much you're on the throttle here. So there's certain tracks where you can use the battery and then it will regenerate. Here, kind of hard.
yes, but in the same time, you got to use it to get into DRS and to stay into DRS, and that's going to help you throughout the race. So Zach and Heatwave using a lot of strategy here to keep themselves in this race, to fight one another. So a very tactful fight. We'll see if Luciano's gamble on those softs pays out. I'm guessing he's still going to have to pit. He should be pitting around lap 11 on those softs.
Yeah, I think 17 laps is a very, very tall order. Because
Boss Cookie slides his way through on FinFan. Oh, but Boss Cookie goes off into the grass. I don't know if that was contact. It doesn't look like Veyron had, or FinFan has any wing damage. Maybe it's just the curbs catching out Boss Cookie, but that's going to be another position as Toneless slides through. Mozzie might be able to collect the back of Boss Cookie, but oh, Boss Cookie loses it again, and he's off into the gravel. He hasn't hit the wall.
His tires,
but
we saw it with DXD, is when your tires are just overheated, you have no rear traction, and it's like you're driving on, there goes ice. Oh, he's crashed.
And he couldn't get the tires. I guess they were overheated, and that's it. He's into the wall, and that's a safety car.
Luciano just got his gift.
And yeah, it's a gift for a lot of these drivers as they're jumping into the pits. The only two that might have a problem is FinFan and Toneless, but they should have a big enough gap. Everybody should be able to get through without double stacking. A safety car can reset this race. Lots of penalties on the board.
Yeah, if you're a guy like Mozzie, Wraith, Lewis Fan, even DXD, DXD, he's had a very interesting first 2/3 of this race. They don't have penalties. And Slayer.
Oh, and Slayer gets a drive-through penalty, and that is going to be just the nail in the coffin this late in the race. I don't think we're going to get another safety car after this one.
Yeah, it's painful.
And yeah, to serve that, that's going to take them out of any points from penalties, but we'll have to see. Mozzie and Zach and Heatwave all with no penalties so far.
Yeah, good observation. I just realized that Heatwave and Zach didn't have a penalty.
I'm guessing at this point everyone's going to softs. So Luciano went to the mediums. All right then.
Did Luciano think he had to do the 2-tire compound thing, or did he just make a mistake? Because that is, wow.
I honestly thought Luciano was going to do a double stop, and with this many laps left, it should be an easy soft run.
100%. 100%. I didn't even notice it because, well,
I really didn't think anybody would go to the mediums. Maybe there wasn't a new set available after qualifying and thought maybe it's best to go with mediums if there's not a new set of softs. I am unsure. I do not know, but that is going to be an interesting mix-up to the end, as Veyron might be looking for that position. Same with FinFan and Toneless. Can Luciano hold it out on these softs? Maybe at the last stages, those mediums will be stronger, but very hard to say with the safety car.
I was looking at a video via DM. So yeah, that's probably going to be looked into after the race about the safety car crash.
Yeah, unfortunately, the chat has even said that Luciano is choked, and that's a 5-second penalty for Vojay for speeding in pit lane. We're under safety car. There's really no reason to get that penalty, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
I see Luciano's chat in tier 2. I feel for you. I say that because I guess the game froze to where he couldn't change his tire. Last
This game is filled with game glitches.
Yeah.
So.
Me partly, me learning is I think safety car will be in not this lap. See, we came on pit lane, and I'm like, okay, I'm near my box. Let me just go ahead and take care of what the tire needs for the next stop. No, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw you the softs, even though you had enter selected. So literally, right when I clicked the softs, a second before going in the box, it put me back on softs. So,
yeah,
it's a little annoying.
It is a little annoying, but this game can be buggy at times, and it is what it is. Hopefully the next one will be better. These drivers, I think, will have one more lap behind safety car before they get going. But this will give Zach a chance to recharge that battery. He didn't have anything to fight Heatwave with before, but now he's all topped up, good to go. Same with the rest of these drivers on the grid, but...
So, one thing is everyone's battery is going to be charged. FinFan, who started P13, started the race on enters. I was able to somewhat stay with them. Then when the transition from wets to enters came in, he was basically P3 and he's been up front pretty much ever since. So, Titan, El plan is El working.
What about Finn? FinFan, I think, has more penalties, but can still pull out something. But as it stands, Alpine for Tier 2 constructors looking strong so far. If they can score some double points, they'll be pretty much ahead of anybody else. Wrath a little bit back in P9 after having the wets not pan out in their favor, but maybe with the dries, maybe with this new startup, they can grab a few more positions to the end. That would give the Mercedes a little bit more of a grab. Maybe the same with Alfa Romeo.
I think the happiest person right now is DXD is probably very, very happy. He's had a very miserable, not happy for 2/3 of this race, and he has no penalties. He's probably thinking, I have a shot at doing something in this, and he does.
Zach harrying Heatwave like he's some sort of Verstappen. Look at this. Look at this madman. Luciano holding right there as they're all getting ready for a safety car restart.
Yeah, Luciano's decided, even though the game glitched on him, as we're back underway, just go ahead and stay on mediums.
Heatwave did get a good launch. He's away from Zach as they're all pushing down with the ERS. Bayron not with the best start, but he got away from both Finn fans. So, again, everybody having different results through these corners. Ruben's fighting side by side as Mozzie's getting swallowed up by his teammate, and Wrath. Wrath making up a position already into the corners. Mozzie being swallowed up by Lewis fan.
DXD actually went into the back of, I believe, one of the Alfa Romeos, but I don't think he got any damage out of it. Let's see, he didn't.
Katra and Vojay fighting side by side, giving each other enough room. Katra leaves some room on the outside for Vojay, as Vojay leaves some room for Katra as Katra makes up a position.
I tell you what,
so
even though he's not on the compound as the others, Luciano is keeping these guys with him, so if he can just stay in DRS range for the next lap, he might be okay. Gonna be a tall order though, with him being on mediums versus everyone on softs.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Some drivers using full deployment on that lap, like Ruben, so people giving it everything since there's only about 5-6 laps left, so not a lot of battery saving. Side by side with Toneless. Oh, he has to back out just a little bit. Toneless sneaks himself ahead.
And DXD retires.
Pushing with ERS, jumps on the inside of him again. Toneless takes a wider line, and that's contact. Toneless is off, and he's going to have to try and recover his race from there, but that's not what Toneless is going to want in this late stage of the race.
Yeah, Zach and Heatwave. Luciano's just out of the DRS range as Rubens gets another 3-second penalty.
Zach holding 6/10 behind. Ruben is trying to keep Wrath about 7/10 behind. FinFan is about a second out. So a lot of these drivers all have their own little grouping. Lots of penalties starting to pop up on the board. It's going to shake up lots of things. Lots of drivers with 3-second and 6-second penalties at this point, and only a second gap between them. So just like our quali, it looks like we're going to have a lot of shake up towards the end.
Yep, DRS will now be activated. It will be for the next lap.
Zach already used a lot of his battery, but so has Heatwave to keep him away, so looks like that fight has pretty much restarted itself back where they were as having low battery after 2 laps. Bayron trying to close into the back of Luciano. Doing well so far, but FinFan not giving up yet. Very close. Ruben closing in on the back of them. And Wrath not too far behind, so lots of trains already forming. And that is Katra off and out.
It is out. She is out. Unfortunately, will that bring out a safety car?
It's a little late for a safety car, I think, so I think that's it. That's it. There will be no safety car. I think there will be no VSC from that. This is the end, ladies and gentlemen. It is a shootout towards the end. Unfortunately for Katra, that's going to be no points. I don't know if that was contact or something else. Maybe the curb just caught her out, but unfortunately that's her run.
The first 2, chicanes or, those parts of the track, they are tricky. Very tricky. As here comes Zach on a front straight away. Main straight. He does have DRS. Closing, closing. I don't think he's gonna have enough strike. No, he just follows through. Just stays right there.
But Ruben gets ahead of FinFan at least, but Zach staying close to back of Heatwave. Luciano still falling back a little bit, and Wrath making a position on,
Well,
or now right on the back of FinFan.
if Luciano can keep this pace up for a couple of laps, there's going to be a transition to where the mediums actually will be the better tire and he can pull away. So
I don't know about that. They're pretty fresh, and with the safety car, they're probably not that bad. They've only been on them for about 5
That's a
laps.
good
Like, the
point.
tires here are good for a while. FinFan has a bit of a squabble. That's going to give Wrath a chance to look down the inside, and that's a position up for Wrath. So Wrath already up into P6 from P9 after the safety car restart. So
Luciano's draining all of his battery trying to keep that second gap. I think Rayron will have DRS. Indeed, he does. Same with Ruben. Meanwhile, back up front, Zach on the outside of Heatwave gets the move done.
but can he hold off Heatwave for the last 2 laps, or is Heatwave going to take it from him on the last lap and then be able to defend it? Maybe it's a tactical play, but Heatwave pretty much out of battery, Zach out of battery as the two of them are fighting it out. Heatwave has a bit of a squabble. It's not going to help him hold to Zach, as Zach's almost pushed the gap. That's 6/10 ahead.
Zach
Heatwave giving it a little bit of ERS to keep that gap in close, wanting to have DRS towards the end. So this is the two of them towards the end.
Zach hit the loud pedal. That's on the back end slide out. Well,
Yeah, I'm sure he's running for his life at this point, trying to keep Heatwave away, as Veyron is trying to keep Ruben and Wrath away. So
they're both on about equal set of battery between, Zach and Heatwave, so they're not on equal footing when it comes to battery and tire life. So it's just going to see about the DRS if that, if Heatwave can do what Zach did to him a lap ago. Here they go again down the main straight. Zach puts in the fastest lap of the race.
he puts down the fastest lap, but will it be enough to keep himself away from Heatwave? Heatwave still has DRS. He's looking. He bows out of it at the end.
Oh, as Slayer gets a 10-second for cutting the corner. It's not been a race where he's not going to really be happy about.
Ruben thought about it for a second on the inside of Veyron, but Veyron now closed on the back of Luciano. So Luciano defending for his life in the last moments of this race here now for P3.
Well, Luciano and Veyron, they both have 3-second penalties. Ruben has a 6. So if Ruben gets by Veyron and Luciano, he's going to have to open a 3-second gap, which he only has a lap and a half to do. But this is a battle for the podium, the final podium spot. That Slayer has retired. Oh, that's on the track, but that's not going to cause a safety car or anything.
Heatwave does get DRS again on Zach. Is it going to be enough this time around to jump ahead of Zach?
It's going to be his last best shot. They both have the same battery. Zach goes defensive.
He pushes him to the outside. They're going to go side by side.
Oh!
It's a muscle for rank, but Heatwave's going to take it for now.
Wow, what a move. Where does Zach look to respond? Maybe here.
I don't know, but this is a fight to the end.
It is.
It looks like Veyron got the better of Luciano, but they're fighting too wide into the corner. Ruben's still looking for a move to get done on them as well.
Heatwave still holds it off. He's opened up a little bit of a gap.
These three are going side by side through the corners. Zach is still trying to chase down Heatwave to the end. Wrath is now right behind them. Luciano had a moment. I don't know if he got tapped and he's been out, but unfortunately, that's pretty much the end of his race at the back there.
Heatwave kind of.
Veyron and Ruben chasing it down, but it looks like it's going to be Heatwave to take the win, tactfully letting Zach through, and then getting DRS on the last lap, and that's going to be it. And Heatwave will take the win, Zach in P2, Veyron will take P3 after winning last week's race, so good for our champion so far.
Yeah.
Ruben will take P5, Wrath P4, FinFan down in P6, Mozzie P7, Lewis Fan in P8, Voj P9, and Toneless will come to finish the GP for us.
Well done to Heatwave, making the move on Zach on the final lap. Those two basically swapping it the last third of the race as Veyron gets driver of the day. Zach, man, probably feels a little gutted, but hey, from what happened at the start to get P2, that was tremendous comeback for him. And Veyron.
It's a tremendous comeback. Would it have been worth it to wait one more lap to make that move, maybe, so that Heatwave couldn't make the move in return? We'll have to ask him when he gets in here, but congratulations to all the drivers for the race. Thank you for coming out. It's been a great one.
Yep, we'll get the drivers in here at the podium top 3, and now it's raining again. Just bear with us for 1 second as we get our top 3 in here. So just waiting on Veyron. There he is. Okay, so we'll start with Veyron. Started P13 and finished P3 on the podium. Had a little bit of a battle between Luciano and Rubens to get it. Just talk about your overall race, starting in the wets and then ending in the dries. How about it?
Yeah, it was a pretty solid race. I had pretty good pace in the rain, and I was able to carve my way through the field and get up into the top 6 or so by the time of the first safety car, and then I unfortunately stayed on wets during the safety car. I should have came in for inners right away, and I would have been in a better spot on track, but yeah, it happens sometimes. But yeah, I was just able to get lucky with everybody else getting penalties, and yeah, I guess just be in contention for a podium, and in the end being able to get it at the last possible moment. So it was a pretty solid drive, and even despite me being pretty far off the pace.
Well, one thing that with you getting P3 today and you winning last week, it's been a good start for you this season with only 13 races this season, with the first 2 completed, both P1, P3. Does that vote well for you going forward in this championship?
Yeah, no, I will always take, podium finish any day. And yeah, considering I was starting 13th and I was horrible in qualifying, yeah, this is really good for my championship efforts.
Yeah, I noticed, speaking of qualifying, you didn't set a time until late. Just weren't comfortable in qualifying, just having a little bit of issues there, or just what's up?
Yeah, it was, yeah, I had some problems in qualifying. I didn't really do much practice at all, so I kind of just jumped into it, and it was pretty rocky the first couple of hot laps I tried to do. I finally put one in at the end, and I was very far off the pace. So, but yeah, I guess at the end of the day, it's not really about where you start; it's where you finish. So,
exactly. Yeah, I can relate. It's a little bit tricky in some areas when it comes to the track limits. With the little amount of practice that you got, the fact that you only got well, I know you got 3 seconds, so very well in the race of maintaining that. Good job. We'll move to
Thank you.
Zach. Well, you had a very interesting start. You started P2. Had a little off, and that compromised your start. Just talk about that, and then you clawing your way back up, and then your battle with Heatwave at the end.
Well, we're just gonna skip through the start of the race. We're just not gonna mind that. That ain't
That's
real.
fine.
Let's ignore that. But um, I had a lot of fun in the back. I keep saying this, but I have a lot of fun when I'm like making my way through the field. It's something that I particularly enjoy, especially when you're around a whole bunch of clean drivers. You can just get a lot of wheel battles, and it can make you have a lot of fun. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the race. But
Well, why don't you
going
just start
on,
last every race?
no.
No?
Especially if it's rain races. I gotta qualify if it's a rain race because you can't pass in the rain. But
Yeah, that's true.
anyway, some driver I do feel bad for is Cookie. We would probably both of us would have been on a podium right now if his internet didn't die on him. I felt really bad, but I apologize. Well, how am I apologizing for? I feel bad for Cookie, but I'm going off track. But yeah, I just had a lot of fun. The Battle of Heatwave, I got a little trigger happy. I thought I had enough to hold him off because I know he would probably dump to stay within my DRS because I was quicker on pace, but the power of the DRS was too strong. I tried to give it a fight, but by the time I could start to shoving him, he was already ahead of me. But then everything else, it was just desperation. But once I lost it coming out of the chicane, it was over. And I want to give a congratulations to Heatwave, and I really liked in battling with him.
Yeah, it was a fun battle to watch. It was kind of sort of, looking back at it, did you maybe wish you made the move a lap earlier to get by Heatwave, so that way you could have responded on the last lap going into the first corner of DRS?
I couldn't trust myself if I even did it earlier. Earlier, I don't even think I had DRS. That was the first up DRS was activated, but I didn't trust myself enough to make the move coming to the last lap. So I just made it then and there and just hoped that I had enough battery. But by the time he got up to me, I was at like 5 batteries. So, but Heatwave was on battery too. So it was just down to who had the overspeed, and of course Heatwave had it with the DRS.
Yeah, Emilia can do that with the long main straight. Well, it wasn't the start that you wanted, but as Veyron said, it's where you finish, and finishing
Mm-hmm.
P2, especially after last week, it's good with 11 races remaining with the championship. So, congratulations on P2, and we'll
Yeah.
move to Wrath, who will
Bef-
talk. Go ahead, Zach.
Before we move on to Heat Wave, F1, where's my push to pass? Come on, I need it. I need the push to
Well,
pass.
you don't have curves. Your push to pass, unfortunately, is your that button. It's your
No.
battery. It is what it is. But here's the deal: you can use it at any part of the track you want for a lot of the track lap itself, not just 6 seconds. So what do you want here?
Nah,
We'll
push to
move.
pass.
Okay, well, all right. Well, talk to Ross Braun about that, and we'll see how far that goes. We'll move to Rat, who will talk to our race winner, Heatwave.
Well, Heatwave, that was a bit of an interesting race. You really put it up there at the beginning with some serious quality times back and forth between Wrath and Zach. So good on you for that. It was an interesting start with the wet, and then at the end there, was that a strategy call to let Zach go so that you'd have the DRS to get around him towards the end, or was that just he had the pace and you were fighting and it was just a big brain moment for you?
Well, yeah. At the start, it was kind of and Collie. I didn't expect to go into the sixes. I was actually expecting to go slower than Wrath time, but yeah, I ended up somehow doing that. The start of the race was rain, so I wasn't really expecting much. It kind of ended out a little bit bad because of the safety car, but I was back in like P5 almost instantly, so that was just a bad strategy call for me. Um, yeah, at the end, I think it was just that one lap where I was just missing all my apexes, so I didn't pull far enough away from Zach. So he actually made it into my DRS and passed me. So yeah, I wasn't really like planning on doing it, but I didn't want to fight Zach too much and burn all my ERS. and at the end it just worked out. I got kind of scared on the last lap, but yeah, I'm happy with the win.
Well, it was quite the move towards the end. I'm glad that you and Zach were able to jostle your way through turn 1-2, and it was quite close through 1-2. So good on you guys for being so clean and so tight. So yeah, congratulations on that win. It was a well fought, well deserved win.
Yeah, thank you. GG, Zach.
Yeah, GG's.
But
That was
yeah,
fun. But also, before you end the stream, I gotta give a shout out to Chandler for giving me a setup. I adjusted it a little bit, but still, it was basically the best setup. So, shout out to you, Chandler, for giving me a good setup that I could use for the race. Yeah, that's it.
so yeah, that will be the end of our BRL stream for Tier 2. Stick with us. We should be back in only about half an hour or so for our next stream. And we shall see you all there. Have a good night and be safe, everyone.
See ya.
GG.